What's up, everybody? We're back again, and we're plowing through these new custom nodes. So we've got another one again from Kijai. This one's ComfyUI IC Lite. And what I've done is I've made a pack that exploits or reorganizes a bunch, makes very little changes, to be honest. A few bits here and there. But essentially, Nova, relighting tools. It's actually running on SD 1.5 because I believe that's what the IC Lite works on. I haven't tried it with anything else. When it works, I tend to just build out what I can. What this is going to do is allow you to take an image and then relight it using a mask. That mask can be generated and animated. As you can see here, we've got a long length interpolation. This is an arc with another one coming along the bottom, and this one is just a circle, and it goes round and around in a circle. I've given it image of woman, given it a prompt of, black leather dress, and then the lighting is going to go round in a circle. But I'll show you how that works. There are a couple of things you need. First, go into Comfy Manager and get ComfyUI IC Lite, or just drop in the workflow and go to Comfy Manager, install missing nodes. There is some checkpoints you need to grab. So here is the official GitHub from Kijai. And as you can see, these are all of the default nodes which are available. And there's a couple that aren't listed here, but we're going to show them all so you can generate the normal from an image. You can make these lovely gradients, and there's two different gradient styles. There's also a matte blending, just relighting a section of image with a strength, and a couple of other things which I put together using it. So you get the three models from the Hugging Face, which is linked in the on the GitHub page. So there's three models. I haven't actually used FCON yet, so I'm not sure what that one is for, but I know FBC and FC are used in my workflows. I'm not entirely sure what this one is for. Okay. Inside the pack, you will find a bunch of workflows. There's also the demo video and a demo image, which you can just throw in and use straight away. Okay. It's going to come with looped, which is the latest one. That's the one I'll show last. There's looped, normal map, gradient variation. So this is more going to change the image than gradient, which is just going to give you a gradient relight. Multilight, which gives you two lights to go on a path. Map blend, which takes two images and puts them together with a relight. And then spotlight, which is just for one image. And then motion, which is making different paths that don't necessarily loop. I just wanted to distinguish the difference. Motion and loop are very similar. Motion is more basic in that it doesn't have any of the interpolation stuff. So I've developed looped a little bit more so that you can get a longer animation, some smoother animation. All right, so let's just take a quick rundown on these. If I take a look at the first one is going to be normal map. So with the normal map workflow, I'm going to take one of my generations here of a turnaround character I made in 2.1. Okay. And I won't go through the whole workflow like normal. I'm just going to show you what you have to pay attention to. So the gradient controls are here. It's going to do left light, right light, bottom light, and top light. It's going to make a batch of them and send them through. It's also going to do BRIAAI matting. Now, you might be missing this, and when you load this workflow up for the first time, you'll just install this missing node. It's fine. This is going to take the subject, it's like remove background. It's a kind of remove background, but a little bit better. I'm going to be doing a video on exploring that. But for now, it's going to just take that off, set the map mask, and then later, when we generate our images are generated with a light prompt. Okay. Obviously, you've got your IC light model up top and your 1.5 checkpoint here. Got resizing options. I don't want to spend too much time because they're all very similar. So what we're going to do is we're going to pay attention to this last point here. So when we generate this image, going to make the gradients, as you can see. So there you go. It's made the gradients, right? And then it's going to apply them. And we're going to get these, which are images that have been relit from every side, which is interesting. And then it's going to use calculate normals using Comfy. It's another feature, you see. And then here you have your normal image saved. It's going to go into Nova normal map, a little subfolder in your output folder, so you can organize things. Most of the time, final is the last image, so, or video. All right, so that's normal. Pretty much done and dusted. All it is you put an image in, you can guide the prompt, but essentially it's going to make a normal. This is just a preview, it doesn't save. All right, so then we're going to take a look at motion. Now, motion is fun because, as you can see here, I've taken an anime girl sitting on a table, and then I've told it to make a spiral with this. So we've got a spiral, so it goes all the way around. Now, you can increase the number of points. Currently, there's 32. And the mask here, you've got the dimensions, everything's plugged in. And I've used a prompt of house on a rocky island, which probably isn't the best prompt for this. And so it's gotten a bit confused, but hey, there it is. Obviously you want to prompt what the clothing you want to see. So I could say here, woman in a smart business suit. Woman in, say woman wearing. Woman wearing. Try that. So it's going to make our mask. Okay, there's the mask. And then it's going to start cooking our image. And like I said, these come out really nice. All right, that's not a business suit, my guy. Okay, this is a little bit better. Now, obviously, this is a crazy effect because it's spinning around like really fast. So what I obviously did was I came in and I've added in additional frames. So let's go for 128 frames. Now, I'm not really, I might be tricking myself here, but I'm sure that the mask slows down. If I'm right, it's going to use batches of 16 for the number of frames that there are on the path. But because I think it's building the mask from the path, which means I should get a slower rotation because it's going to have more frames, right? And then what we could do is once it makes the new image, I'll run it through film or interpolation, double the number of frames to smooth it down even more. So we'll just wait for that because it's going to take a minute. Okay, so now as you can see, the lighting has slowed down a lot. Now you do get some shifting, but this is surprisingly stable. So I think it's all about the prompt. So what you probably want to do is maybe mess with some of the settings too, but this is a really good starting point. And what I did was I simply did film interpolation to slow it down even more. Okay, so then you just get a smoother animation or you get longer running time for the same frame rate. Either way, it's an easy way to get some more distance out of your generation. So let's move on to Spotlight, which is the most basic workflow in the pack. Now, what I've done is I've included an extras section, which we're going to turn off for now, to give you a demonstration of what you could do when you get a good image. So if I just change this to, let's get one of my test ladies. There we go. There she is, right? And it says Spotlight. Okay, so we're just generating the Spotlight. Now, down here is the code for the mask. So if you want to change the shape of the mask, the size of the mask, the position of the mask, that's where you do it down here. When we run our preview, you can see it's a stretched circle, which works really nicely when you look at the result. Now, we're using 1.5 models, so the images are a 512 by 512 base. So you'd probably want to do some high res or some upscaling, something like that. Now, what I chose to do was enhance the effect a little bit. So if I just throw the extras on and queue up the same prompt, the difference, this is the normal output. And if you remember, we used this image. So if I put that image there, it's kind of, I know it's kind of darker, but you should be able to see we've lost all the colors. Okay, we've lost a whole bunch of information through the process of relighting it. And I wanted to see if I could get that back. Now I did manage to get it back, but sort of albeit in a strange way. So what I've done is I've used color match. So if we just look at how I've done this, so I've fed the image into image color match and used the source image as the reference. And that's given us the same color palette, but not the same colors, exactly where they were. And the problem with that was it's blown up her legs, like she's got nuclear legs. In the next pass, I do an image levels adjustment because I felt that true black wasn't black. So I've essentially made black darker. And then in the final image, what I've done is I've overlaid using the mask that's used to generate the lighting effect. So then we have more like the generation outside, more like the color restoration inside, and then you end up with that, which I was kind of happy with. It's all right. I'd still want to go in and do some stuff myself, but that's pretty cool. So obviously you don't need the extras on, and we can just take any old image. This one doesn't actually need to have any changes. You can just let it run with any image because Spotlight is fine. Spotlight. And as you can see, it's doing the same sort of stuff to anything. It looks really good with people and anything square. You're going to have to make some changes if you want to do strange aspects. I think I might have fixed this to work out the box with a funny aspect ratio. Let's see. Oh no, I did fix it. So it's trying its best to do it. But it is using 1.5, so you've got your limitations there. Okay. So that one there is the spotlight. Remember, you can move it. You can change the shape of the mask, and you can put different image in. You'll probably do all kinds of stuff as well. As I've shown here, you could do whatever nodes you want after you've got that image out. So that was the main point of this, is to make it so you can do relighting in Comfy. So that's Spotlight out of the way. Let's take a quick look at Gradient. These are actually a lot quicker to look at now because we've covered most of the info. So let's just run this one. We can see it's making left. This is the same as the, this is a lot like the normal map workflow, only with this one, I've prompted futuristic military towers. This is my input image. And so it's given us some variations which are really atmospheric. I really like these. Have I got the fixed seed on right now? Yeah, I've got fixed seeds. Let's put it on random. Give you a little taste. So just using that first image to, sort of generate, and we can make these sort of realistic looking environment variations and just pick the ones that we want. Okay, they're all basically the same, which is very useful. You want to do like a rotation. Okay. So that would be gradient. So the next one is map blend. This one's got a bit of an interesting feature in that you have two images. The first image is going to go in, and then the second image is going to go in, and it's going to use the same shape mask technique to blend the images. So if I've got my big sphere and my rock house, it's going to do, we've shown you this before, BRIAAI, Bria AI matting. So like a really good RemBG, I guess. So it's taken that, and then we've got the relight, and then we end up with the house and the, on the alien landscape, I guess. All right. It's just slapping one on top of the other. So it only does a very small amount of blending. And again, it's, you're stepping down. A lot of the images that I'm using are generated in SDXL. And so and they're already upscaled and everything, so they're going to look quite good. So putting them in here is going to be like you're going down in resolution basically. But this is a huge step forward regardless, because the ability to do some special effects and stuff is quite cool. So anyway, we've got matting. You could put people in places and stuff with this, which is cool. So next up, we got Multilight. Now, Multilight is cool because we got two of these gradient paths, which we can make our light path follow. If I just move this down a bit, you can see that we've got one level which is dealing with that, and the next one which is dealing with the second path. Okay. And if we look at it, there is actually a second, if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see. The first one's really obvious. I think they might run at the same time. So it's like you can't really see the second one. But regardless, this one is for multi-point lighting. So I got photograph woman, right? So it's not a woman. Okay. So how about we get an image of a woman? We should have our woman standing in the foyer. There she is. Ah, there we go. Look, now you can see the other one. See, I think it was something to do with the shape of the image, it being tall, maybe. I'm not sure. So it's like cutting off. You can't, it only appears in the corners. Something like that. Yeah. So here we go. Yeah, it's kind of similar. Oh no, you can see the bottom light now. So there we go. That's really good. Really like that. Like again though, if you zoom in on it, you can see that it's 1.5. But that's nothing a little bit of high res fix wouldn't help with. So there you have your two lights. Two lights. Maybe you could make four lights. So there you go. That's another way you can do relighting of a single image. We just put a single image in with a prompt to match the scene or the lighting effect. That's all you need. And again, I'm using the same 1.5 I always use, Epic Realism Natural Sin RC1. And for this one, we're using FBC. Oh, so maybe I did use FBC. This one. Anyway, I don't want to get stuck in the woods. We got another one to look at. So, gradient variation. So if I take a look at this image here, you can see that it's SDXL. It's the details really nice in the people, like the clothing. You can almost make them out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use this as the gradient path. So you can obviously just click and drag to move this around. All right. I think you can also use hard numbers up here, but whichever you prefer. Start color orange, end color black. All right. So when we run this, you're going to see that's exactly what it did. It creates a nice gradient. Okay. But it's not like the other gradient, you see. It's sort of more of the soft edge of two colors at an angle. Obviously, you determine the angle here. It's a lot like Photoshop. All right. And then it's going to relight, but also reimagine. So this I see, the reason I called it grad variation, because it's like it's gradient, but it does variation too. So it's going to relight, but it's also going to redraw, because this is a new image, which is in the shape of the old image. And the prompt was very bad. I've just said town centre European buildings soft light. It's not very good prompt, to be honest. But I'm an SDXL. I use what, 2.1 SDXL. I haven't used 1.5 for a very long time. So here it is. We've got one more to look at. And this one is my favorite one. So this one, it reminds me of the looped motion which I made with Animate Diff. So what I've basically done is I've changed the path to be a circle, right? So it starts at the bottom, it goes all the way around, and then it ends. And I've got the points roughly equidistant as best I could. I've added 128 points. All right. It's doing cardinal interpolation. So it should go all the way around. And the idea is that this is going to, it won't perfectly loop, I don't think, but it should be good enough. All right. There's nothing to stop you from generating a load of them. So it's the same as the other ones, but we've got a little bit of an extra, we've got an extra toggle here. You can choose Rife, Film, or both. And what it's going to do is it's going to save those videos into a special folder. All of these will go into like subfolders of your output folder, so you can tell which workflow you are making with which. The reason for that is a lot of them don't make a JPEG or an image, so you've got nothing to drop back in really. So yeah, but you've got these workflows, so there's nothing to stop you from saving an image at some point, which would have the settings in it. But just a note that the videos don't have the metadata. So just to cover what we've done. So we've done 128 points on the curve. Now I'm hoping that what that did was give me more frames, because then when we've gone to generate, it's a slower, it's not quite so crazy, it does. Like the problem with loop motion was, even though it was perfect loops, the animation was so out of control, so crazy. And this relighting is much, much smoother and slower. It goes around the character in quite a natural way, like this. And as I say, you can create whatever shape you see you need. And then the final trick was to put it through and double the frame rate. So then we get a much, much slower. I mean, now it looks weird that she's not moving. How is she standing so still? You know what I mean? But I think if you wanted to take a section of this, it would make a nice little effect in your production. Just having a part of the rotation. So it looks like light is just changing. Maybe the sun broke through the clouds, and then you wouldn't linger on the scene. You might have the full circle, but you're only going to use like this bit and then cut, right? So it just makes the footage look a bit more real. But anyway, like in a way, it wouldn't go all the way around, but you don't know where the light's coming from, so you can just use the bit that makes sense. And yeah, and like I said, this is actually pretty good for 1.5. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Anyway, it'd be great if this worked with Excel, but I don't know how old this is or anything like that, so something to look into and watch out for. So Nova Looped is pretty cool. Let's just throw a different image in here and see what we get. So can we get another person? Oh, I suppose I could do that one again. Nah, let's go back to our... Yeah, then we do this one. We do this one. So it's another woman. And I'm going to say laughing woman. I was trying stuff. So I'm going to say a woman wearing a silk dress. I'm going to say, let's say green. We did black last time, so it's not complicated. I'm also going to say diffuse light. I prefer that to hazy. I think it's already too hazy. There we go. Because it's 1.5 is kind of hazy. All right, so we'll give that one a generate. It's going to make our mask for us. And that's nice. It's running at 8 FPS. See, I wonder if it's just this and I'm cheating myself, but I think 8 FPS and it's going that slow. There must be quite a few frames there. Really, you want to set it to whatever your target is. So for me, that would be 12. My target is actually 12 FPS. I'll be interested to see what that looks like in a minute. Okay, we're nearly there. So obviously the difference with this is using the same as motion, just customized. So there's a few changes, like we've got randomized seed here. Obviously the extra switches for the interpolation at the end. I did mess around with high res fix, but there's so much going on with evolved sampling. I probably would have spent all night trying to get the settings correct. See, that's really good. And like I said, it's going all the way around the character. So no matter where you want the light to come from, you've got the light coming from every angle. And of course, if you specifically want the light to come from a direction, you can use this and just have it come from one side. I think there's a bunch of ways you can do that. Okay, so now we're just waiting for the interpolation to update. And there you go. Like I said, that's actually really good considering it wasn't hard to do. Didn't take long. Okay, there it goes. So fully customizable relighting, and you can even create little video clips like this one. It is going to take a little bit of effort if you want to mess around with the resolution, but by that I just mean, turn off key proportion, change the res to what it needs to be. I've set it up to be as simple to use, but you may have to make small changes in order to get it to do like widescreen. Like you'll notice here, I've put a tall image in and it's just cropped it square because it's like, nope. It's trying to make it easy for you guys. So if you want to mess around with that, you're welcome. So I think that is pretty much everything I've got to show to you on this one. There's going to be more content coming. We've got a bit of a quick push. It happens. This is what happens. It gets quiet and then it gets busy. So there's going to be a couple more videos pushing out, and then it'll quieten off again, and you guys can actually get a chance to breathe and use the tools. But I think this is a really cool ability, because what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to hunt down all these services that I show you. I think they're amazing, and I'm fully on board. I support these online services, okay? Because it could be you that makes the next service that I'm promoting, whoever you are watching this video. That's happened a bunch of times now. And everyone gets to benefit from having the super powerful GPUs, and then you don't have to fork out for a 4090, which can be like $2,000 these days. With all that said, we're trying to give people those local options that run an open source equivalent in ComfyUI. It might not always be as quick or as high resolution, but we have other ways of getting around those problems. So we've had a bunch of videos lately, one doing the face animation and syncing, another one doing better video generation for backgrounds, and then this one here gives us the relighting abilities. So watch out for the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.